Hello, everyone. We are live on the gold carpet here at the annual Golden Kite Gala in New York. And I'm very excited about tonight because we're going to have all kinds of great people walking by, winners of the Golden Kite Award. But our very first guest of honor tonight on the gold carpet is Lynn Oliver.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Golden Kite Gala. I wish every single person watching could be here with us because it's a very special night. We love all of you and we welcome all of you via the internet. As you know, tonight is the night we present the Golden Kite Awards, which are the peer-judged awards for excellence in children's books. We present them in 6 categories, plus the Sid Fleischman Award for Humor.
So, Dusty, you wrote one of the honor books this year. It was 24 Hours in Nowhere.
It's about a young boy who lives in this really, really poor desert town, and that's how my husband grew up, in a very, very poor town in a trailer with his grandma. At times, they didn't have running water or electricity, so he's very, very poor. And I was also inspired by his love of motorcycle racing and bringing in the dirt bike racing into the town. And then I was well inspired by my love of the movie The Goonies. I always thought that Arizona would be an amazing place to write a Goonies-like adventure because we have caves and mines and all kinds of really unique settings. So all those loves came together into this one story, and I really hope that it does bring some awareness to the depth of poverty that exists in areas in this country, all the while children feeling like they're connecting with these characters and having a fun adventure with them, but also building empathy and understanding at the same time.
Awesome. Hello, I'm welcoming to the gold carpet now Angela Dominguez, who was the Sid Fleischman winner. Hello. The Sid Fleischman winner, which is the award that's granted, I don't know if it's even technically considered a Golden Kite. It's like a separate award that's for humor. So you wrote the book that is the funniest and won that award. So could you tell the people at home, just looking into that camera over there, or you could look at me, I don't care, and tell us a little bit about, what the story was about and what brought you to it?
Well, it's a story about a girl growing up, Mexican-American, very much based off of my own experiences growing up, and her kind of learning to find her voice and put herself out there in the world. And she has an obsession with fishes, which is something I also happen to enjoy. And she has her mom and her brother, and with them she's very gregarious, but outside of that she's a little shy. And it just, her experiences throughout the book.
And I should mention the title of the book, of course, which would be a good idea. It's Stella Diaz Has Something to Say. So I have on the carpet here with me now Vesper Stamper, who wrote What the Night Sings.
I didn't intend to write a book that felt so timely in terms of rising anti-Semitism and decreased knowledge about the Holocaust and stuff. I actually started it as a way to answer questions about my own Jewish upbringing that I just was ignorant about. And right after that, the terrorist attack at Charlie Hebdo and the kosher supermarket happened, and it was like the veil was pulled back on anti-Semitism growing globally. And it just felt like, oh my goodness, I think I'm supposed to really do this at this time. So,
what was it like when you got the call that you had won one of the honor awards?
Wow, I mean, I've been an SCBWI member for a long time, and this is where I found my agent and found my illustration voice, and I had always pursued picture books, and I never expected to be here, but it was like a pipe dream. Someday, maybe in the future, I'll get close. But I think this honor, especially because it's from my peers, it couldn't mean more to me. It is so meaningful to me.
Thank you so much for stopping by and having a chat with us, and thanks for writing the book. It's beautiful. Here with Varian Johnson and Jarrett Krasaska. You guys, Jarrett, you actually won an honor award for this particular one. You'll be collecting that tonight, I guess. So the award you won it for Hey Kiddo, which is a memoir, yes. Right? And it has some difficult topics that you've grew up with and things that you talked about in your TED Talk. So I'm wondering what it was like when you were writing it. Was it difficult to pull up some of those memories? Maybe what was the hardest thing to remember or think about or put into words? And what was the most joyful, hopeful, happy?
I think more so it was trying to come that line of being honest about what happened and feeling like you're not betraying your family. So being really honest about those that I loved and sharing the more difficult aspects of their lives, and also being very compassionate about the people who I had difficulties with growing up. And for those that are still with us on this earth, not necessarily sharing their secrets. So being able to craft the story in such a way that was very respectful of all of these people who raised me.
So, Varian, how you doing? So I actually found a little tidbit about you, which I found very interesting, and that is that you were or have a degree in civil engineering. Is that right?
That is very correct.
I also have a degree in civil engineering.
Really?
And I'm wondering if you can tell us, what do you think it is about having a degree in civil engineering that makes us want to be children's book writers instead?
I don't know. Maybe you should answer that. I love doing work as an engineer. I was a bridge designer, and I loved the idea of piecing kind of puzzles together. So I find that I certainly now gravitate to a lot of books that have kind of puzzly, mystery aspects to it, kind of really plotty type stuff. And I guess I explored that a lot in my prior career as well.
I'm standing here now with Barb Rosenstock, who was the winner of the nonfiction for younger years with Otis and Will Discover the Deep. And Sandra Neal Wallace, you are an honor winner.
Yes, with Between the Lines.
Between the Lines.
Collaboration with illustrator Brian Collier. Brian would have loved to be here tonight, but he said, you got to be here and represent both of us. And I wore gold in honor of Barb. I love Otis and Will. And then I have silver. This was my first piece of jewelry, age 8, and I still have the same size wrist. So silver for honor and gold X's for my love for Barb and Otis and Will. So
That's sweet. So I have a question for you, Barb. First of all, your story is about two men who create the first sort of deep sea diving bathysphere. I want to kind of know where the words come from, like they're all the Bathys something.
When I first saw the Bathys, when I first heard the word bathysphere, I actually got the idea from the book because I ran across that word and didn't know what it meant. And is that a round bathtub? Is it a bath toy? Like, what is that? And thanks, Google. I saw that picture, and it kind of reminded me of this cartoon that I used to watch when I was a kid called Diver Dan. So,
Diver Dan.
Diver Dan fan, a big Diver Dan fan. And and somehow Catherine Roy, who's the illustrator for Otis and Will, just totally picked up on that vibe of that early 60s adventure story cartoon thing, and she just did a fabulous job with the book too.
But I wonder about in the nonfiction world, because you have to do so much research to do the writing, and so much of it has to be accurately portrayed. I'm wondering how you and the illustrator worked together, or did you, or was that separation still there with you guys?
No, the separation's for sure still there. Is it with you guys?
it was an exception for Brian Collier because Ernie Barnes was Brian Collier's mentor. What's great about Ernie Barnes is, he provides a new prototype for masculinity about being athletic and artistic. And that's what Brian Collier really resonated. And instead of taking a basketball scholarship because he learned about Ernie Barnes, he went to Pratt. So when my dream was to have this book illustrated by Brian Collier, but I didn't know that connection. And as soon as he found out that, would you be interested in illustrating, he actually contacted me and said, you don't understand. This is my mentor. So from the get-go, we were really on board. And Laurent Lynn is the artistic director. He book designed it. And the collaboration just exceeded my expectations.
Awesome. A very close collaboration. Well, that's great. Well, thank you guys for stopping by the Gold Carpet, and congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
So, hey, Jane, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well, as you can imagine. Very fetid.
So, Mapping the Bones is a Holocaust story, and interesting. We were talking last night. I was lucky enough to have dinner with Jane last night and some other people. And when we were talking, you were mentioning.
interesting if you just say we had dinner together.
We had just Jane and I. It was a tete-a-tete. So we had this. Had a discussion about some of the books that that are in the YA fiction category this year for the Golden Kite. There was yours, and there's Elizabeth Acevedo's Poet X, and also What the Night Sings by Vesper Stamper. And and you were talking about how you guys, there's various awards among you that you have won, and I was thinking about the connection between all those books. I feel like it's voice, because in the Poet X, the main character is finding her voice through slam poetry, and in your story, it's about Chaim, who he doesn't speak very much, but he does find voice, and also in poetry. And then yours is also set in during the Holocaust, which Vespers is as well, and also is about voice, about a character who is learning to sing. So I'm wondering if there's something about books about finding your voice that you think maybe is especially appropriate at this time, or that why you think that there's some kind of a zeitgeist that's brought them all to the surface now.
My guess it's zeitgeist. I like to think that it was something that we, all found so, I don't know, amazing that we had to deal with it. But sometimes that just happens. I mean, my book is the third book, not of a trilogy, but a third book that I've written about the Holocaust, and each one of them has to do with memory. So not voice so much as memory, but different ways that memory is shown in each of the main characters. And for Chaim, it was he coded memory into his poems. For Hannah in The Devil's Arithmetic, she goes back in time in order to get memory firsthand so that she could bring it back to the future. And for Briar Rose, again, there's a character who becomes the living memory of a particular area in time, and he goes around telling people the story. So we get the story from his point of view after the main character meets him. So it's for me it's less voice than memory.
Okay, so yeah, we can. I know we can rock the gold, can't we?
We can rock the gold. Yeah, we should.
So Meg, this year's a big year for you. If I'm not mistaken, you won the Newbery Award this year for Mercy Suarez Changes Gears. So can you tell us a little bit about I'm sure you get asked this all the time, but I'm going to ask you again because maybe not everybody has heard, what it was like that morning, and were you expecting it? And did you, I know they tell you guys a little bit beforehand, just kind of tell us how the morning went for you.
Yeah, well, it was very far away from my thinking, because a lot of times committees will call the night before, and I had just gotten in from California. Nobody called. It was early in the morning. Nobody called, so I said, I'm going to go exercise. I walked the dog. I just had my regular day, and I was getting ready to sit down and watch the webcast along with everyone else. And I stepped out of the bathroom, and the phone was ringing, and it said Washington. I don't really know what to say about that call, because it immediately flies out of your mind as soon as they start talking. It's a really scary moment and big moment, and really just a wave of feelings. So I mean, I don't know what to say a week later, but except that I'm just so grateful, and I'm just thinking. I'm doing a lot of thinking right now about how to spend this year to really make it have meaning, beyond the beautiful, beautiful medal that it is, and what it means for me. I just really want to do something different with it.
Susan Hood. Hi, Susan. How are you doing? You are one of the winners for, you won for middle grade fiction. You want to tell us a little bit about your book?
Lifeboat 12 is my first middle grade book. I'm usually a picture book author. And I found the story in my mother-in-law's childhood letters, because she was a British evacuee who was shipped to Canada when the Nazis were coming for England. And she wrote home to her family about the news of the day. So I heard about this other ship that was called the SS City of Benares that went out with a whole bunch of other children to Canada. And unfortunately, that one was torpedoed by the Nazis and sank within 30 minutes. But Lifeboat 12 escaped, and there were 6 young boys on board, ages 9 to 13. And the 13-year-old was the one that saved everybody on board the lifeboat. He spotted a plane that saved them.
So talk a little bit about writing in verse.
So I think it's because I'm a picture book author, and I wasn't used to writing out everything. So poetry has that in common with picture books, where the words are very spare and evocative. And I also feel like poetry gives all that white space that's sort of cushioning for a tough subject. So it gives the reader a little breathing room. And I've written in rhyme and in verse before, so it seemed more natural to me.
All right, my next guest on the gold carpet is Laurent Lin, who is an art director at Simon & Schuster, as well as an author himself. Welcome to the gold carpet. You earlier did a little walk around that was the pre-show. I'm wondering if you discovered any secrets or anything fascinating or interesting in your walk around that you'd like to share with us now.
Lots of secrets. Well, I know they use a steamer to steam out the step and repeat backdrop. That's shocking. You heard it first, or fifth. But no, it was a really fun thing. So it's on the SCBWI Facebook page. But I just really wanted to show what it goes into this and why we do this, because it really is about promoting the books. It's about literature and art. And this is a big gala, but it really is about children's literature, because so often it isn't celebrated in this way. And these awards, as you probably mentioned, are one of the only peer awards for children's books. And so it has a lot of meaning with that. But we went on stage. I showed you could get the view of the podium. It's a lot that goes into this, and it's all done by people who care so much about this organization and also what we do as children's book creators.
So also I want to ask you about another fabulous aspect of your pre-show, and that is the tie, which is in fact a golden kite. I think, make sure everyone can see that. So was this a custom-made piece?
Yes, by me.
Okay, you're very, very talented as well, that's right. So, but I really like the way it works out there with the string and everything. I'm here on the gold carpet with Carolyn Mackler, who wrote The Earth, My Butt, and Other Big Round Things, among other projects, and Ismay Williams.
I don't mean to grab it.
No, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Hi. So thanks for having us here. And so Ismay's first novel, Water in May, was amazing, and she has a new novel coming out very soon. Would you like to tell everyone the title?
Oh, sure. It's called This Train is Being Held, as in like the subway.
It's so much more fun to talk about someone else's book than my book, but I am excited about my book. So after 15 years of chatting with my readers about the Earth, My Butt, and Other Big Round Things, about Virginia, my plus-size character who starts to come into her own skin despite her family's judgments, I wrote a sequel that came out last spring, and the paperback is coming out this year. It's called The Universe is Expanding, and So Am I, and it picks up on Virginia's adventure.
This is Jessie Oliveros, who is one of the Golden Kite winners for picture book text for the Remember balloons. It's really elegantly and beautifully done, I want to say. I'm also wondering about your own memories, and I'm wondering what color is the memory that you have when you found out that you won this particular award?
Okay, probably gold.
Probably gold, thank you. That was the right answer. So when you wrote the book, was there anything that you found particularly difficult because of the subject matter, or particularly joyful, or both? Can you share maybe one of each?
Well, the first time I read it to my sister, we cried together on the part where the grandfather loses the silver bloom, because that represents that he's forgetting the boy's name. And so that was the emotional part for me. And the joyful part for me was just writing about all the different memories. And I think memories are just so important. And the memories of others, especially our elders, are so important.
The gold carpet is going to be closing down now, but my last two interviewers are going to be Uber librarian, as my friend Linda Sue says, Julia Torres, and Linda Sue Park, a good friend of mine, and who's also on the SCBWI board. Usually, as you may know, on many red carpets, I haven't asked this question yet, but I'm going to close it out with this one. On many red carpets, they ask people, who are you wearing? But tonight, we like to ask, who are you reading? So, who are you reading? Julia.
Okay, I am reading the newest book by Hanif Abdurraqib. I hope I said that correctly. It's amazing. It's all about Tribe Called Quest, but it's all about music and being African American and connecting that to the musical traditions of Africa. So far, I'm just at the beginning, but I love it.
Awesome. And Linda Sue, what about you?
I am reading Trace by Pat Cummings, our own SCBWI board member. She's been an illustrator forever and has mentored so many illustrators, and this is her first middle grade novel. And I've just started it again, but I'm loving it, and half of me wants to say, come on, Pat, stay in your lane. You know, illustrators shouldn't get to write too, it's not fair. But it's so good, and I just wish her all success with it. It's an ARC, so it's not out for a few months yet.
Okay, great. What was the title again?
Trace, T-R-A-C-E.
Okay. And as for me, since I was interviewing people, winners on the gold carpet, I just finished reading like all the gold carpet winners and honor award winners. So that was and I have to say, unfortunately didn't get to interview her, but I wish I had gotten to see Elizabeth Partridge. Boots on the Ground is amazing. It's really moving. It made me cry because it made me remember the Vietnam Memorial. But anyway, shout out to that and to all the winners. Thank all the winners who came here tonight. Thank you to all of the authors and librarians and people who love children's books who are here tonight supporting children's books and children's literature. And I just can't tell you how happy I am to be here among my peeps. And I hope you guys enjoyed the gold carpet, and I hope to see you again next year. Take care, y'all. Bye. It's really all about the fashion, yeah.
I'll be like Dorothy in too many ways.
Awesome.